What is up, guys? The LA Gamer here, and today I am bringing you guys episode 1 of my MLB 16 The Show fantasy draft franchise. Now, of course, in this first episode, we will be doing the fantasy draft. Now, this is actually really weird for me for a variety of reasons. I don't do a lot of MLB on my channel. Haven't done a video in a while now. We can explain that in another video at another time, but either way, we're hopping into this. We're about to do a franchise, of course, a fantasy draft franchise, and this will be my first fantasy draft. This will be my first anything on MLB 16 The Show. They even just put up a tutorial, so you guys know for a fact this is my first time doing anything. So we will just use the current roster. There's not any other roster because the game came out at this point about 3 minutes ago. So I'm pretty new to it. Now, I did the Angels last year because they're my favorite team. But I feel for the intention of being kind of having some variety, we're going to actually switch the team up this year. So we won't be the Angels. We'll be... we could be in the NL. I'm honestly just looking for a team that's got a nice ballpark that's pretty interesting. Maybe the Tigers. I like the Tigers a little bit. Let's go with the Blue Jays. They have actually, I think, changed their stadium around a little bit. They have nice uniforms. They have a nice stadium. They have an interesting area, of course, being in Canada. Only Canadian team. So that's definitely something to be interested in. And I say we just go with them just for those reasons. So GM contracts, I guess we'll go with this. Make things a little bit more interesting so we can actually end up getting fired. But I don't think that'll be an issue because I intend on drafting a pretty good team here. So fantasy draft will be on. There will not be legends, there won't be legends in the free agency, but that might be something I consider at another point in time, possibly doing a fantasy draft with legends. Something I did consider and think about a little bit, but I think it's a little bit early on to have my first fantasy draft involve legends. I might do it a little bit later in the game, though. So, CPU roster control. I say we just kind of take control of most of the stuff. Now, force trades, okay, all this stuff looks good. It looks like they actually got rid of the option of insta trades, which kind of bothers me because I don't usually like waiting a couple of days for my trade to go through, but I guess we'll just advance here. And we have a middle of the pack pick here. We got the 15th pick, Mike Trout being the first one. Now, this is my first time doing, or Clayton Kershaw being the first pick. I want to emphasize, this is my first time doing anything. So this is my first draft. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I always like to emphasize that before I do drafts like this, because there is a lot of criticism that goes into every draft I ever do. Surprise, surprise, right? So, yeah, there's always a lot of criticism in every draft I do, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that you guys think I should draft a player, or you guys think I should draft a player that's not the player that I'm drafting. This is my first time doing a draft, so I might draft a guy too early, I might wait too long for a person. That's what's going to be expected out of my first time doing a draft, and I feel like that's what makes this so interesting, is that since it's my first time doing the draft, I'm not going to be very good at it, and that means every single pick I make is going to be very, very authentic. I'm not going to put any extra thought into it because it just, I don't really know what's going to happen, so I just can't really think about it too much. So obviously, with this being our first pick in the draft, there's a lot to be considered because this is going to be the guy we build around. So we did draft Giancarlo Stanton the first round last year, so that kind of keeps me from drafting him this year because I don't, like I said, I want to be I want to have some variety. So I think just due to age and just skill, Manny Machado's up there. Nolan Arenado is another one that would be a great player. We could get a nice young pitcher in Jose Fernandez, Madison Bumgarner, DeGrom, Felix Hernandez. There's great young pitchers here, but I don't usually like getting a pitcher first. Then we got Carlos Correa, and I'm actually kind of leaning towards Carlos Correa because coming off a fantastic year, he's only 21 years old, already in the 90 overalls. Not necessarily spectacular or anything, but you can tell he's got great abilities and a whole list of things here. You see mid to high 70s in every stat, really, besides mid 80s in power versus lefties, and of course low stats and bunting and stealing and stuff, which isn't the biggest deal. So that's always he looks like a nice player. Let's look at Nolan Arenado's stats real quick. He appears to be a little bit better of a hitter than Carlos Correa, a little bit better of a fielder, a little bit more clutch. So I would say in the whole scheme of things, he's a bit better than the man Carlos Correa. But they're saying he's 91 overall, but in this it says he's 89. So I don't know why there's a discrepancy there. And then Manny Machado, I don't really like him versus lefties. He's a great fielder. I already knew that. Manny Machado's a fantastic fielder. He also can play shortstop, which is something that's great. Is that he'll be a versatile player if we decided to get him. But I feel like people would want me to get Machado or Correa, but honestly, I'm leaning towards Nolan Arenado just based off the stats. So we'll scroll down a little bit more just to make sure we're not missing out on anybody in specific. But Correa is a great option. I think I might go Correa just because of his age and his ability. There's nobody else who's 21 years old as good as him. And it's hard to get a really quality shortstop. Let's look at shortstop real quick. And yeah, shortstop drops off pretty quick, guys. We got to be honest here. Corey Seager is another great one, a great prospect in the Dodgers system, who we might actually end up getting and move him at third base if we can somehow scoop him up. But yeah, there's not a lot of great shortstops. And if we don't get a great one now, it's going to be tough to get later. And shortstop always being one of the most important positions, I want to get that. Now, I do want to mention right now, as there's a viewer in the top right corner, this is a live stream that I'm doing right now. I will be doing maybe occasional live streams if I wanted to. Actually, comment down below if you think that's a good idea, if you want me to do live streams of the Fantasy Draft franchise. I'm also going to be doing Road to the Show and Diamond Dynasty. So there's going to be a whole series of things I'm going to be doing on this game that will be posted on my channel. So if you think any of those things would actually look good to be posted on my channel, or at least during a live stream, I should say, comment that down below, because that's definitely something I'm considering. So with the second round pick, I typically like to look at some starting pitchers. Now, Chris Archer is just an absolute beast. I would probably get him before Masahiro Tanaka, and then there would actually have to be some consideration between him and Steven Strasburg, but I do like Chris Archer a lot. Some young guys, we're looking at Marcus Stroman, Patrick Corbin, and Carlos Martinez. These are some good guys. Velocity, break control, there's some things you like to look at. Yeah, the reason I like Chris Archer, the 98 break. So the dude is wicked. Like, his actual, the stuff he throws has just complete filth to it. It's just crazy curve, just crazy ability. Not the hardest throwing pitcher. I believe his number one pitch is actually a slider. So that's something to put into consideration, but just so much curve on all of his pitches that it will definitely keep the opposing team off guard. Now, it actually appears that a shortstop would be one of the last positions you wanted to get, because all these other positions just have a bunch of old guys. Shortstop has some young talent here, so I may have made a mistake. But Corey Seager wouldn't be bad. We can move him to third base if we wanted to, and that would be a really nice starting core with Carlos Correa and Corey Seager. Could you even imagine that amount of talent? Now we're looking at left field here. We got some talent here, not anything too impressive in my personal opinion. Center field, we got Mookie Betts, who's pretty nice. Great contact versus lefties, but I just wouldn't think of him as a second round pick. And then right field, we got George Springer, Jason Hayward. Okay, these are some nice guys. It's weird to see Hayward with the Cubs cap on. You know, he just changed teams from the Braves where he originally played. So I think I'm going to go with Chris Archer here with the second pick. So we're going to go with him, get a starting pitcher, but now we have an idea of who's going to be there in terms of position players. So we're going to look back there in just a second and see who we got. So right field, Jason Hayward's still up there. We got Yasiel Puig, who I think is kind of a fan favorite, but Jason Hayward, in my opinion, is quite a bit better than Puig. At least with Puig's last year. Puig was really good until last year. There was just, we'll look at his stats, yeah. Went from 319 to 296 to a 255 batting average, which really couldn't be explained. Now, it appears he didn't play that many games. I didn't really follow him a whole lot. All I knew is he wasn't really performing that well. Now, me being in the Los Angeles area, of course, there's a lot of talk about the Angels, a lot of talk about the Dodgers, and there's a lot of Dodgers fans who aren't really that big of a fan of Yasiel Puig. And it's likely because of this down year that he just had. So, I say we kind of stray away from him. I don't really want that on my team, that inconsistency. So, Corey Seager is still there. Chris Bryant is still there. Now, I thought Chris Bryant had crazy power, but this game really doesn't make it seem so, as his power is in the low 70s or high 60s. Where Corey Seager, on the other hand, has pretty similar power, but more contact, not quite the fielding ability. But he's a nice player nonetheless. We got some young talent here to round out possibly the left side of the infield, because we can move Corey Seager to third base. If that's why you guys are wondering why I'm looking at a second shortstop, it's because he could also play third base. So, it wouldn't hurt to already get an outfielder. And if we did already get an outfielder, like I said, it would probably be Hayward. I wouldn't mind Hayward, but I don't know. Is that really who I want? He's got pretty good righties. What happened to his power? I thought he used to be a crazy power hitter. Or maybe not crazy. Okay, he had one season. Okay, I guess he's not the greatest hitter. I guess I just kind of misinterpreted his actual ability to hit home runs. So not a great power hitter. Pretty good contact, I guess. But that's not really what I'm looking for. I want a little bit of pop, because Carlos Correa doesn't have the most power in the world. Of course, there's always some power here at the first base position if I'm looking at something here. Or Freddie Freeman, actually, is a player that I love, especially against righties, so I'll have to look at him in a little bit. But Chris Bryant, I think, Him or Corey Seager? What do I do here? It appears that Corey Seager is actually a little bit better at throwing and stuff. It appears Corey Seager is just a better all-around player, as well as being 3 years younger. I say we have to go with Corey Seager. He's the #1 prospect of this year, and he's already in the mid to high 80 overalls. Had a great year last year with the Dodgers. I had to go with him. So now going back to the pitching position, we got Jake Odorizzi, Michael Wacha. I think it's Michael Wacha, but that just sounds like I'm saying Walker in a Boston accent. Michael Wacha. I don't know. Is it Wacha? I think it's Wacha. Lance McCullers. So there's still some young pitching talent here. Yordano Ventura. Great velocity. He throws in the hundreds usually. High 90s, low 100s. So that wouldn't be bad. Now, Freddie Freeman being a great first baseman still up there. Let's look at Justin Bour. I don't really know who that is. He's not bad. I'm kind of looking at young people, if you guys can kind of tell what I'm looking at. I'm not really going to get anybody in the 30s. Typically looking at here in the low to mid 20s. And that's kind of, I'm not even going to be the scouting people higher or older than that. So we're looking here still. We got Puig still here at right field. We got Miguel Sano, who was originally a third baseman. A lot of pop in this guy's bat. Only 22 years old, but 88 power versus righties. He definitely has pop. Christian Yelich, who's a pretty good swinger, had a much better contact last year, so it went down a little bit since then. Third base, we already got that figured out, because remember, we're putting Corey Seager there, so we could get Freddie Freeman right now, and I think that's what we're going to do, because we need a better, he's a great right-handed hitter, and I think it would be good to have a platoon hitter like that at first base. I've always been a huge fan of him, so Freddie Freeman will be who we get to be our first baseman. I definitely wouldn't mind it if, what's his face, Miguel Sano stays there for a while, and it seems like he will. I don't really want to risk it, but we might have to if there's a nice starting pitcher out there. I wouldn't mind getting my #2 pitcher right about now. Got Aaron Nola, Taiwan Walker, but I got him last year. Jose Quintana, Kyle Hendricks, Julio Teheran's pretty nice, if I remember correctly. I love how they're showing me all their stats. I really do like looking at the stats of players, especially because it's hard to remember the stats of every single year a player has played in the league. So this is definitely a good reference as to how somebody's been doing in the league the past few years at least. And I don't think they've had it this, like in the previous years they've had the stats, but not this extensive. Look how much you can look at. That's amazing. So we got right field. Miguel Sano is the obvious option there. Center field, I'd probably go with Christian Yelich or possibly this Odubel Herrera. He's got great contact, but his potential. I haven't been looking at potential. What am I doing? Why have I not been looking at potential? Correa's got an A. Corey Seager's got an A. I should have been looking at that. Oh, and Freddie Freeman's got an A. So we kind of lucked out here, guys, because all these guys have A potential. But I swear that hasn't been something I've been looking at, which is kind of an issue. But I'll start looking at that a little bit more. So we got Salvador Perez, my bad. And I like him a lot. He's a pretty nice hitter, if I remember correctly. Pretty nice contact hitter. And actually, no, not in this game, but I know he's a good fielder. Second baseman Rugned Odor. I don't really like him. He's just consistent. He's kind of like consistently average. I want somebody who's at least at this round. This is usually where I get kind of platoon guys who are kind of at least great at something, so they fit a certain role. And somebody who's just like consistently average doesn't really do anything special for you. And I just don't really like having those types of guys on my team. So Ender, I'm not even gonna try that name. I think what I want to do is get Miguel Sano here and try to get Salvador Perez in the next round. In worst case scenario, we go with Travis D'Arnaud. I think that's what we do, because Miguel Sano, a great young player, and it kind of fits the scheme of our team. And no, Salvador Perez was pictures a few picks later, so not going to be able to get him. But we definitely have a great young team so far. Look at this. Two 21-year-olds, one 22-year-old, and then a 26 and a 27-year-old. Our team is definitely young. It's got a lot of talent here. So let's keep looking. We got catchers. Derek Norris, a good lefty hitter. But I'm not really a huge fan. Travis D'Arnaud, another one of those guys just kind of consistently average. Brian Woodward, pretty nice hitter for a catcher, I must admit, but the D potential kind of makes him a less attractive player. Reggie Wolf, I'm pretty sure that's, some of these guys are definitely generated players. There's not a whole lot of catchers. Catchers are actually a position that's very slim in the league now that you think about it. And so I might just have to get look at guys a little bit older. Dioner Navarro, Francisco Cervelli. Those would definitely be some options. Because if there's any position where I'm going to probably need to get a little bit of age, it would have to be the catcher position, just because there's not, like I said, a whole lot of stuff to choose from in that position. Josh Harrison's a nice player. He's pretty good contact. I know. I thought he was a little bit faster than 67, but I guess not. Starlin Castro, of course, got traded to the Yankees not that long ago. And it's weird seeing him at this low overall because he had a year there. What year was it? He batted 307 that year, and then 283. So yeah, he was a really high overall. I remember for a couple of years there, and it appears that he just has never improved because his stats have only been going downhill or kind of remaining average, which is too bad for him because I know he was a pretty high prospect. So center field. Oh, Billy Hamilton. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not even going to look past this position. Center field, I always forget. Billy Hamilton, though, 80 overall. Absolutely phenomenal in terms of, I mean, look at this speed. 99 speed, 99 stealing, 99 base running aggressiveness, 99 bunt, 99 drag bunt, 98 reaction time in the field, 83 fielding, and 86 arm strength. So he fits a fielding need. And then he can be a leadoff hitter. I'm sorry, my voice keeps cutting out, but he could be a leadoff hitter. Although the contact obviously needs some work. As long as he puts the ball in a relatively tough to get position, he's going to make it to first base on time, and that's technically a triple for him because he can steal second and third base sleeping. So I'm really not worried about getting him so early. I don't even think that's early. I think he probably would have been taken if I didn't get him. So either way, I think it's definitely time we get our secondary pitcher. So we got Alex Wood. I kind of want to look around. Julio Teheran's guy I really like, so I will probably get him. If I remember, he's got a pretty nice curveball. Now, Kyle Hendricks, no, I don't really like his pitch, his pitches. And you can see, if you didn't notice, you can see what pitches they throw at the top. So, just so you guys are paying attention to the same thing I'm paying attention to. Carlos Rodon, that's right. 23-year-old, he was drafted a couple years ago. How could I forget that? There's people that were drafted a few years ago. I did follow the drafts a lot a couple of years ago. So, all these guys who actually came up through the past couple of years, I'm going to be very familiar with. Now, I remember, what's his name? Rodon, or Carlos Rodon, was actually like a number 3 pick, I think, by the White Sox in the 2014 draft, I think. Then last year, he played relatively well. You can see 9.6 record with a 3.75 ERA, but we can probably get him to the mid to high 80s with the B potential, and he's got a good break on his pitches. He's a lefty, and it would go well with the righty, who's of course Chris Archer. So, yeah, I said we get Carlos Rodon. Now, I think we reached on that pick a little bit, but I'm not worried about it because it's tough to get nice young pitchers at times, and that's just who I really wanted. So, like I said, since I don't really know when people are going to be taken, since it's my first time doing a draft, really the name of the game here is just drafting people I want rather than people I can't really be strategic about it because I don't know when people are going to be taken. So, like I said, please try to keep the hate to a minimum in terms of, oh, you drafted this guy too early, etc., etc. I know it's going to happen anyways. Just want you guys to understand, there's no way I could know when people are going to be taken, so I just gotta kind of just draft whoever I think is good when I can draft him. So we got Scooter Gennett, something like that. 88 contact versus righties. Brett Lawrie isn't bad. Neil Walker isn't that bad either. Jonathan Schoop. Nice fielder, 90 arm strength. That's kind of interesting for a second baseman because when you're at second base, you don't really need to throw the ball all that hard to get a guy out, unless under rare circumstances, well, you need that. So we've worked on the outfield pretty much. We only need a left fielder, which would, I don't know, just some options here. Jackie Bradley Jr. is of course a pretty nice fielder. Marcelo Zuna, I thought he was a pretty good hitter, but it's not super impressive there. Melky Cabrera. Who do we have? There's not a whole lot of options here. If I were to get a left fielder right now, it'd probably be Jackie Bradley Jr. Who's this Kyle? Oh, actually, this guy's got a lot of pop for a left fielder. I mean, look at that. 86 power versus righty, 70 power versus lefty. He's not the greatest contact. And honestly, okay, yeah, those fielding stats kind of ruin it. So never mind. We want to get him. But Jackie Bradley Jr. wouldn't be bad. He's pretty fast, pretty nice fielding ability. I like good fielders in the outfield. I love it when you can make nice plays in the outfield, and so that's a really big deal to me. Delino DeShields Jr. is another nice guy. You can see he's got pretty good speed, as well as a good reaction time. Not the greatest fielding stats or an arm. He doesn't have that good of an arm, but the reason I'm looking at those guys is I can move him to left field if I wanted to. So let's see. We need a catcher, a second baseman, and possibly our third starting pitcher if we wanted to get him this early, which is not maybe not a bad idea because it seems like a lot of pitchers have been getting taken. So we got this guy, Aaron Sanchez, another guy with a lot of break on his pitches. Kyle Gossman, Matt Latos, who never really developed past. I thought he was going to be good. Matt Latos was good for like a year, and just never really developed. Steven Motz, this guy's got a bit more velocity, it appears. But yeah, let's get this Aaron Sanchez guy. It seems like he's just got a lot of break on his pitches, and he's got that 12-6 curveball. So I think that'd be interesting using him. And it seems like our pitchers are going to just be very filthy. A lot of break on their pitches. I like guys like that. And it seems like our relieving pitchers are getting taken right now. If you just saw that whole entire round was relieving pitchers. And we didn't get one, so we might as well get one relieving pitcher who's pretty young who can possibly take over the bullpen for a couple of years. So let's get this Keone Keller guy. 81 overall, a B potential, so with hopefully some work, you can get into the mid to high 80s, and that can you can build a bullpen around that. So we'll get him. As you see, some other relieving pitchers are going to be taken. That whole entire round was relieving pitchers. Another thing to notice is the left fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr. just got taken last round, so not going to be able to get him. Jorge Soler's not bad. We can move him to left field if we really needed to, but he's really slow. Wow. I don't really want somebody that slow in left field because you need to be a little bit faster in left field. Jock Peterson's... Jock Peterson would be really cool. 23 years old. A bit of pop against righties. Now, he needs to work on his contact, obviously. He began last year absolutely phenomenal. And it just kind of went downhill. I mean, finished, with a 210 batting average. So that's really bad, to say the least. There's obviously some work that needs to be done there, but the power is obviously there. And when you have natural pop as a 23-year-old, I would want that. So we'll move him to left field. It appears, his secondary position, he can play left field if we wanted him to. So we get Jock Peterson as maybe a number 5, number 6 hitter in the lineup. Just somebody who can hopefully put the barrel on the ball every once in a while, just kind of send it out of the ballpark, and hopefully just put occasional runs on the board. So we're looking around here. We've got a couple of Angels pitchers here, which of course is intriguing to me, being an Angels fan. So we got Tyler Skaggs as well as Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney, I don't really like his face there. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Beavis and Butthead, but he looks like Butthead. I know this is a completely random subject, but Google search it if you have not seen that show and look at his face. Guaranteed you guys will see a resemblance. So that right there, just within itself, is kind of keeping me kind of away from him. So we got Zach Wheeler. There's some nice young pitchers still. I don't really see the necessity in just forcing myself to draft a pitcher right now because there's obviously some options. We can get Mike Moore, who's another Angels pitcher. Don't really know what's going on with the smile in that picture either. There's some just quacky stuff going on, and I only said that because I saw this guy's name. So I'm a little uncomfortable with some of these guys' pictures. This guy happens to look normal at least. It's a pretty nice relieving pitcher. Felipe Rivero, C potential kind of kills it, but we did not get a closing pitcher, and that will probably end up screwing us over. We also have not gotten a catcher yet, and we'll probably have to get this Brian Wilbur guy. He's a nice... Oh no, D potential, never mind. Jason Castro isn't bad, actually. No, actually, yeah, let's get him before it's too late, or possibly... Yeah, no, let's get him over Yasmani Grandal. We just need to get him now because, I'm not going to wait any longer and end up with some terrible catcher, because catcher is a pretty important position. So, second baseman, there's not really a whole lot of options here, is there? No, there really isn't. I guess we might as well get Javier Baez. Now, I had him last year, and he didn't really do a whole lot for my team, but he has A potential, and hopefully that could be trade bait. So he'll either... worst case scenario, we'll just hold on to him, and he'll develop, and possibly we can use him in a trade and get a much better player. So I say we draft him. Only real second baseman that has any real, intrigue to him. Anybody who can even be slightly interesting or important to the team. So that's why we'll get him. Now, lastly, we need to get a DH. Being in the American League, of course, at this point, all we need is somebody who can put the bat on the ball and hopefully send some out of the ballpark. Now, wouldn't mind getting David Ortiz, honestly. He is 40 years old, but 95 power versus righties, which is absolutely ridiculous. I haven't actually looked at any other. Out of all the players I've drafted, I haven't really drafted anybody who's just a purebred crusher of the baseball. And this would be the one guy who can kind of fit that role on this team, because like I said, I didn't really draft anybody who can just destroy a ball every single time they go up to bat. But David Ortiz can definitely do that. V-Mart is another guy who's got a really nice hitting skill. But, of course, those guys are a little bit up there in age. So is there any young guys who could fit the DH role? Greg Bird, he's kind of a downgraded David Ortiz. You can see that there. He's not bad. He's only 23 years old, and he's got, I mean, that could be a nice player to get. He definitely has the ability to hit the ball there. But natural hitters, David Ortiz is going to be the best hitter there. He's only got 1 speed, which is something. Oh man, this would be the best hitter that we have by far. I say we just draft him and work with him. So we're going to do that. We're going to draft David Ortiz now. It's really funny for me to do that, considering I was just discussing how I want to draft young players, and he won't play for me any longer than maybe 1 year. But I do like him. I think we might also draft Greg Bird here pretty soon, because he can kind of take over David Ortiz's role after about a year of development this year. So that'd be another reason to kind of just draft this guy. He'll be able to develop this year in the minor leagues and become our DH next year. And there'd be obvious positives that could occur out of that. So, lastly, center fielders. I wanted to look for this guy, Byron Buxton. Might draft him a little bit later. A potential. He was the #1 prospect for years until Corey Seager passed him up this year. And Buxton just, I don't know. He never really seems to be getting it done. I don't really know what's going on with him. But a potential prospect nonetheless. And maybe he can develop on our team. I wouldn't really, like rely on it, but we might draft him a little bit later and hopefully get a trade out of him too, or maybe even just let him develop. We'll see. But for now, let's look at more starting pitchers. We got Tyler Jungmann. I don't know who that is. Looks like we might have missed out on some pitchers. So Joe Ross. Here we go. This is a nice 22-year-old with B potential. That's not bad at all. Eduardo Rodriguez, Brett Anderson. Oh, Brett Anderson's not bad. Jared Kozar's pretty good too. What is that? I say we go with that 22-year-old because, yeah, it's very young, so it'll give us a lot of room to improve him. Now, we only have 1 lefty after we draft this guy with 3 righties in our starting rotation, so I will try to get 1 more lefty in there. We'll see what I can find. Now, it looks like more relieving pitchers are being taken, so I'm going to draft another one right here before it's too late. Sam Dyson, no. Michael Givens, no. No. Come on, give me a B potential. Anybody have a B potential. Henry Mejia, he just got banned from the league, which is something to be considered, because he took steroids every single year. So that's definitely something kind of interesting. Fun fact of the day. So let's continue here. What is this? None of these guys have any potential? Okay, Drew Pomeranz. That's the one guy I found. Is there anybody else? No, this is the only guy who will ever get any better. You're telling me out of all these pitchers, only one of these guys will ever end up getting any better. Okay, we'll look at. I feel like this guy might have be. No, okay. Yeah, I'm done looking. We're gonna go back up. Who is this? What was that guy's name? Drew Pomeranz. There we go. We'll get him. Last relieving pitcher who was even slightly impressive out of that whole group of guys. So we're going to get him. Looks like starting pitchers are being taken now. We could get our 5th starting pitcher, which I think we might do. Like I said, looking for a lefty. And this guy is a lefty, 18 years old, only has C potential, but already a 75 overall. I don't know if... Oh, wait. How is this... Wait. What's going on here? This guy's regressing like... Is he trying to switch to a position player? I mean, look, all of his position player, he's becoming a better hitter. But why is his pitching so bad? Okay, I guess we won't get. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. This is the weirdest thing I've seen. So I'm just going to kind of stay away from that because I'm confused. I wish I could just kind of sort by lefties. You know, that would be a cool thing. That would be actually a really cool thing, is if you could sort by certain things. So I could sort by lefties. It would make this process a little bit quicker. I've never really thought of that though. That'd be a cool thing to add though. So we're looking for lefties. Remember, it's gonna take a little while because there's not a whole lot of lefties. Obviously, just naturally in the world, there's not a whole lot of lefties compared to righties. So it's gonna be a little bit difficult to find one. I'm glad we did get Carlos Rodon though, because that's gonna be probably he was like the top lefty prospect that you're gonna find. So Henry Owens, here we go, a lefty with B potential. This is what I was looking for. Now we have that 18-year-old who's a 75 overall, but this guy's only 1 overall lower. He's quite a few years older, 5 years older, but he's a lefty as well, with B potential. So he's actually gonna get better, and that's what's most important, is that he's actually gonna be improving. So yes, we're gonna get him, and then we are going to get, well, we should probably get a closer, but I don't really think any are gonna be taken at this point because everybody's already gotten their closer besides us. Apparently, we kind of missed out on the memo there. We just didn't kind of realize that there are so many closing pitchers being taken, and that one young, god damn it, that one young first baseman I kind of wanted got taken already. Any other good ones that can hit the ball really well? No, not really. I don't want to scroll that far down anyways. There's not really a whole lot. Now this draft kind of dropped out pretty quick. I guess we might as well get Byron Buxton now before we forget about it. But yeah, we're only in the 18th round, but it seems like this draft is already kind of dead. I'm looking through it, and we have our 5 pitchers. We have 2 relievers. Need a closer. The backups don't really matter that much. We already have backups for our whole outfield, because this guy, Peterson's going to move to left field. Byron Buxton could be a backup. And then we have our infield with Correa and Seager at the shortstop and third base position, respectively. Javier Baez at second base. Freddie Freeman playing first base, and Ortiz at the DH. Castro at catcher. Relieving pitchers will be Kella and Pomeranz, and then our starting pitchers will be Archer, Rodon, Sanchez. Probably not in this order. I'll probably switch out Owens and Ross to have righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, and kind of keep it mixed up. But I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know what else I need at this point. So I guess I'll get this Dominic Leone guy, 24 years old. Just get another. I'm just kind of getting what I need now. We'll probably get a closing pitcher, maybe one more starting pitcher, and we'll call it a draft. I don't want to overdraft here. It's already been a really long video. We're about to hit 33 minutes. Crazy long draft. I didn't even mean for it to go this long. So we'll get this Armahia guy. Only guy really worth drafting. There's not a whole lot of options here, and he's only 18 years old with B potential. So he'll probably have a pretty shitty couple of years to begin with, but hopefully he can kind of work in and develop a little bit. So let's see, is there going to be anybody even slightly worth drafting here? We got John Gray. We'll get him. B potential, 24 years old. And man, do you guys think we'll find an A potential short or a starting pitcher? I don't think we will. Let's see. 19. So we need to find the right age group too. Daniel Norris. So I'm looking for young 20s. And I don't know. It doesn't look like we're getting. Oh, here we go. Archie Bradley. A potential, 70 overall. I guess we'll get him and just hope he develops. And that'll be the end of it for the draft. Now, simulate. Okay, I almost canceled the draft. I honestly would have flipped out if I did that. So no. Auto draft the remaining rounds. So we're gonna look at our roster at the end. I'm gonna set up the lineups a little bit so you guys know what it's gonna look like, and now I'm gonna set up the pitching rotation real quick. Now, it appears that our goal is already to win the World Series. So I don't know if we already have that great of a draft. That is, or maybe it's because we're on the Blue Jays, so they assume our team is absolutely ridiculous. Let's look at some of our goals. Win 10 consecutive games. Win 10 consecutive series. That's ridiculous. Win 20 games in a single month. That's pretty difficult too. Win 95 games in a season. Finish with the best record in the majors. I feel like there's some pretty high expectations being set upon us. I don't know if we actually drafted that good. I feel like we got a pretty nice draft here. I'll be completely honest. I felt like we drafted really well. But I could be wrong. And I do actually like the way this lineup is already set up. So we got Seager, Freeman. Actually, wait, why on earth is Carlos Correa on the bench? Okay, yeah, he wasn't my number 1 overall pick or anything. Okay, no, Seager, we'll let him stay the number 1 spot. He's not that fast, but you know, occasional teams like to keep a pretty slow guy at the leadoff, and I'm fine with that strategy. So we'll do that too. Against righties, which I believe this is the lineup against righties. Yeah, it is. He's not the most impressive hitter, so we'll have him batting 5th. I don't understand why they think I want Corey Seager on, or why I want Carlos Correa on the bench. That would literally make no sense. We'll do the same thing here. But then with left-handed pitchers, okay, Freddie Freeman staying on the bench now. David Ortiz is a better hitter, but there's a huge discrepancy in fielding. So we're gonna sacrifice some of that ability to. I'm sorry, I'm zoning out trying to set line. Sacrifice some of that ability to hit the ball just for much better fielding attributes. So we'll trying to set this all up here. Corey Seager is apparently a DH. No, I don't want that. Want him at third base. This game totally is misinterpreting what I want to do. And this is actually the DH lineup. So, or Freeze. Can Freeze hit against lefties? He can, but Ortiz can still hit a little bit better. We'll keep it like that. It's just a very weird lineup. We'll go like that. That was just weird. I don't know how this lineup's gonna be set up. It's kind of weird against lefties. Hamilton will lead off again there. Carlos Correa will be batting 2nd. Or no, he'll bat 3rd. That's right. He'll bat 3rd with Seager batting 2nd. This is where the lineup will have Freeman in, because that's the only time you have to substitute, because we won't have a DH here. Castro. We'll keep it like this. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Pitching rotation. I'll switch Owens and this guy, so we have righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. For those of you who wonder why I'm going to do that, just so you can keep the opposing team on guard. So if a team's bad against righties, we'll make sure to consistently be playing them, and if a team's bad against lefties, we make sure to mix those guys in too. It's kind of a typical strategy you see done by a major league team, so I'm of course going to try to implement it here. And then this is going to be the bullpen. Not the most impressive bullpen. I think this is our weak point. It's definitely our relieving pitchers. We have this Kella guy who's pretty good. Leon, Mejia, Pomeranz. It's kind of the notable 4 guys. And outside of that, it goes pretty bad. So I know this was a really long video. I apologize for that. I got kind of carried away finally playing the game. I'm excited to finally make a video on this game, and excited to just kind of make a video in general. I know it's been quite a while, and it's nice to get back out there and make a video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please click that like button below. Make sure to comment your opinion of the series, comment your opinion of this draft. Some picks you think I did wrong, some picks you think I did right. Remember, this is my first fantasy draft. There's some obvious work that needs to be done just in terms of my ability to draft in this game and my understanding of what players get taken when, things of that nature. It'll get better over time, but for this first draft, I'm pretty happy with how this team looks. And I think just due to youth, I want you guys to look at that. I know we don't have the best overall roster, but when you look at how young our team is and how much they're going to develop, just imagine where our team's going to be in a couple of years, and I want you guys to think about how good this team could end up being. And lastly, subscribe if you have not already to stay tuned to this series and other series I got going on my channel. And I think that's basically it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and that's all for this episode. So I'll see you guys next time, and peace out.